Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another video on the Slightly channel. Today, I am going to be making a tier list ranking all of the Kara members. Now, there's a few things I should mention before I get into this. One, it will not include outers like Ao or Garo or anyone like that. It will not include Amato because he's not a fighter. It will include Eida, Daemon, Kawaki, and Isshiki. I made this tier list myself. We have weak, decent, strong, very strong, and OP. So I'm going to try and explain things as little as possible to just make sure that I get through this very quickly because there's a lot to talk about here. So to start off, I have Kara Inner number 8, Uga or Oga, something like that. It's OGA, but there's like a little accent over the O. Basically, she's not really a fighter. Like, she has ninja tech enhancements. Outside of that, she's not a fighter. She was just an assistant to Amato by default at the bottom. I also didn't watch the arc that she's in, so I don't actually really know that much about the character. This is the only character I actually had to do research on. Next up, I have Victor. So this is actually a pretty far jump in power. Now, Victor is kind of interesting because he was a shinobi before this who now runs like a medical healthcare center. He actually uses all 5 of the basic chakra natures, so fire, water, wind, whatever. He has ninjutsu for it, which I actually do like that they brought that back. He also does have very good regeneration, and he can grow 2 more pairs of arms, so that way he can still block and attack while his other hands do hand signs to launch the jutsu. But yeah, really, I mean, he's not that strong. He got obliterated by Koji in an instant. Right above him, and not far above him though, I have Deepa. Deepa is actually a nice villain, but I just really like his power. He can control the molecular bonding of carbon to really kind of form it into anything. So he shoots like cubes of pure hardened carbon at you, and he can coat his arm in it. He can make it even stronger and rearrange it to be diamond. Imagine just diamond shards being shot at you. I mean, like, that would kind of fucking suck, I'm gonna be honest. And we know he has like high level taijutsu ability, and he also has ninja tech enhancements. Outside of that, I mean, he got beat by Team 7, and this was a Team 7 that was far weaker than the Team 7 that fought Boro. Yeah, I'm gonna keep Deepa right here at the top of D tier. And now we're moving on to the decent tier, where I have Boro to open it off. Now, Boro is kind of as low as he is for the same reason as Deepa. He lost to Team 7 and Kawaki, except it was a way stronger version of these characters. So not only had they fought Deepa before, so they had that experience, Boruto now had his karma, Kawaki was also there, and Kawaki had his karma, and Sarada had the Chidori now, which was actually a really big deal. But all of that being said, they still wouldn't have even beat Boro if it wasn't for Momoshiki taking control of Boruto's body and completely obliterating him in milliseconds. Boro is actually still very tough though. Physically, he's actually really strong, but because of that, he is actually very slow. And he was also a shinobi as well, so he has ninjutsu that he taps into. He even has a Kekkei Genkai lava style. He has a lot of versatility. The 2 things that really make him as dangerous as he is, one, his super regeneration, where as long as his core is intact, he can regenerate any part of his body. Even if his brain and heart are completely gone, he can still regenerate. And the other thing is his invisible virus that he kind of seeps out of these vents that are all over his body. He's the only one with the cure to it. That's actually a very devastating ability. Because of that ability, he's considered worse than Jigen in some ways. Obviously, he's not even close to being as strong as Jigen. One more thing I should talk about. When his core is destroyed, he enters this rampage state where he grows like these tentacles and he's not in control of himself, and his regeneration doesn't work anymore, and he's like basically just a mindless beast. But his physical strength does grow tremendously in that form. Now, next up, I have Delta 1, so the original issue of Delta. I would say there's actually a pretty big gap in the strength here. In the manga, they imply that Boro is stronger than Delta. I find that really hard to believe because her physical stats scale way higher than his. Her abilities scale way higher than his. Basically, everything that she does is just more impressive than what Boro does. Delta is able to keep up with Sage of Six Paths Naruto in taijutsu and in speed. Naruto was holding back in overall destructive capability because his kids were nearby and because he was in the Leaf Village, holding back from using the Kurama form or any massive Rasen Shuriken or anything like that. In terms of speed, in terms of taijutsu, he was actually going all out, and she was able to keep up with him. She wasn't winning. It's stated multiple times that Naruto was completely controlling the fight, and he could have ended it really at any point. He just wanted to keep her alive to get intel. She is on that Naruto level of taijutsu and speed, which is very impressive. And then she also has very strong abilities. Her ninja tech enhancements are shinobi wear, where she can change her legs into this strong substance that kind of glows pink in the anime. It looks really cool, and it kind of like grows like things out of it. Like, it's kind of like wood a little bit, but it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. So her fighting style often incorporates using her shinobi wear with her kicks. She can also change her feet into like rocket boosters and fly. Pretty fucking nuts. And then her eye is kind of like a pseudo dojutsu in a way. She can suck ninjutsu in one side and then release it on the other side. Very similar to Momoshiki's Renegon, except she can't amplify the jutsu, and there's also a capacity to how much she can hold. There's more that her eyes can do. She can shoot regeneration negating beams that if they hit you, and you're usually someone who can generate, well, you can't anymore. That limb is gone. And there's one other thing. So her eyes are also connected to her drone, which has her consciousness in it. Because of that, she has like a top-down POV of the battlefield at all times. But we saw as soon as Naruto whipped out any kind of high-level ninjutsu, just a massive Rasengan, that's all it took to take her out. So that's why I don't have her any higher. Moving on to the strong tier, I have Code. Now, Code realistically could be in the decent tier, but I think he's narratively implied to be stronger than all of the other Kara members. I mean, there's a reason he has limiters on. So I think he is the second strongest, but I didn't put him at the second strongest. I have Koji over him, and I'll explain why later. Code also uses shinobi wear in his claws to have like these really sharp and powerful hands. He has some of Shibai Otsutsuki's DNA in him, which allows him to use his claw mark ability where he can leave claw marks on people or on the battlefield, and then he can teleport through them at any time. Not only can he do that though, he can teleport portions of his body through at any time. So for example, teleport his finger through and then slice your throat and then you're dead. Or he can teleport his ear onto a claw mark you left on you and listen into your conversation. So it's a very versatile ability. He also has the white karma. He has Ishiki's battle experience and Ishiki's will implanted onto him. With that comes a huge power boost. So yeah, I do think that Code is stronger than any of the other Kara members. Again, the only exception being Jigen and Koji, but only when he's in Sage mode. Where his feats really come from is his fight with Jigen. Yes, Jigen was at 10%. It is still Jigen, and it is still Jigen who ends up going into his Karma 2 form, and then he's able to beat him, and then he fights Ishiki in Sage mode, and doesn't do that badly, all things considered. I mean, I would say he held his own pretty good. And you get to see really just how versatile and how powerful he is. He's got Sage mode, which is very powerful, but also his fire style usage is insane. I mean, he puts fire style into his combat, so that way when he punches and kicks, there's like a mini plume explosion of fire. He has some of the strongest fire style we've seen in the series, the 5 Fire Gods Fan of Flames, I think it's called, which completely fucking burn Jigen alive. He has the Rasengan and the massive Rasengan. He has Toad summonings. Like, he has so much in his arsenal. I can't put him lower than Code in Sage mode. Just the fact that he squared up against Ishiki, I think, puts him above Code. And he survived too. He's still out there somewhere in the world, and I'm really excited to see what happens with Koji moving forward. Right above Koji, I have Reprogrammed Delta. So this is Delta reprogrammed to be an ally of the Leaf. Now, why do I have Delta so high after her reprogramming? Well, there's a few things. All of the previous things about the last Delta apply to this one. Amato most definitely made her stronger this time, so she might even have some new abilities that we don't know about. We do see that when Code arrives, Delta shows up and just kicks him in the stomach, and then Code's on the ground. I would say all 3 of these characters are at a similar level of power. Like, they would all fight each other and have a very relative battle. But the reason I have her above Koji, even after Koji's Ishiki and Jigen feats, is because Amato knows that Koji fought Jigen and Ishiki, and he knows that Code is a threat who, if he has his limiters removed, is a greater threat than Jigen. I feel like Amato, just being the kind of guy he is, he would be like, okay, I have to at least make her stronger than Koji was. I have to at least make her at the level of Koji. Really, my placement of her is more like a headcanon. I also just like Delta as a character, so I think that kind of contributes into it too. But I like Koji more and Code more. I can't even say that I have bias. That's it for the strong tier. Moving on to the very strong tier, we have Karma 2 Jigen. Now, Karma 2 Jigen, the leap from Sage mode Koji to full power Karma 2 Jigen, like the one we saw Naruto and Sasuke fight, is such a far leap. He was able to take on the two strongest versions of Naruto and Sasuke we had ever seen up to that point. He completely shut down anything they tried to do. Yes, they had a few successful attempts. They actually did put up a really good fight. Jigen was just clearly on top throughout the entire thing. They did force Jigen to use basically all of his power in order to beat them. Jigen has Sukune Hikona, he has Daikokuten, he can absorb ninjutsu, he has some of the most powerful taijutsu in the entire series. I mean, he's able to take on thousands of Naruto shadow clones. He one-hit Sasuke's Susanoo in Naruto's Kurama avatar. Whoa. Crazy levels of power right there. Well guys, I just realized that I forgot a tier while making this. Forgive me for that error. We're gonna step away from Jigen for a minute and we're gonna go back to the stronger tier, or B+. So first I have Eida. Now, Eida, we don't really know much about her combat ability. The few things we know is that taijutsu strength and ability-wise, she's considered at the level or stronger than Jigen. She doesn't really have any extra combat abilities that we know of outside of flight that she can really tap into. She's really more of like an intel kind of character. You know, I could see her squaring up against, if her enchantment ability didn't work, I could see her squaring up against Delta and having a pretty even combat situation and probably even winning if it's true what it's said about Jigen. I really can't see her going any higher than that. Her enchantment ability doesn't work on almost everybody above her at this point. So this is really the highest I can put her. Moving on from her, we have Karma 2 Kawaki. Karma 2 Kawaki was able to slap up Code. We saw him squaring up against Boroshiki, having an even match. Eida's enchantment ability doesn't work against him, and his combat ability is definitely up there, as well as the fact that he has probably the best shinobi wear usage out of anyone. He can change his arms to be like this giant claw. He can shoot fucking laser beams. He can shoot ki blasts. He can change his arms into a scythe. He can like shoot his shinobi wear out. He just has so much creativity with his shinobi wear that I think it really does bring his taijutsu up a notch as well. And he's starting to implicate things like shadow clone jutsu and Sukune Ikona and Daikokuten and fire style into his fighting style. So Kawaki is really starting to become a very powerful character. Now back up to Jigen. He's very strong. I'm going to move on to the next one, that being no limiters Code. Now it's blatantly stated that Code was given limiters because he was stronger than Jigen, and he didn't like that and Jigen didn't like that. But yeah, we know he is stronger than Karma 2 Jigen. We know that all of his abilities have been amped, so his claw marks have been amped, his shinobi wear is most definitely stronger, his physical paralysis and speed, all of that is definitely stronger. His white karma is probably stronger as well. He might even have a new ability of some kind that we don't know of. I hope so, because I feel like Code could use a flashy ability. He's basically just blatantly above Jigen. We don't know how far above Jigen, but I just have to put him above Jigen. But there's someone we do know that is above him, and that is Daemon. Immediately when Code gets his limiters removed, Daemon had to show that he was the top dog, and he beat the shit out of Code. Now Code definitely was not ready, like he didn't have his white karma activated or anything like that. If Code was ready, I'm sure it would have been a little bit closer of a fight. The reflection ability is pretty fucking crazy. Daemon's combat ability and taijutsu strength is obviously very powerful. That's really all we know about Daemon. I'm sure there's other abilities Daemon has as well, but he's also a big mystery. Right now, he is the strongest character that's alive. And at number 1 in the OP tier, I have Isshiki Otsutsuki. Now Isshiki, I just put him on here because he's technically the founder, and I mean, I wanted to put Isshiki on here to basically just prove a point that Isshiki is above Daemon. I know that's a very popular debate. I don't know why, because I feel like it would make no sense for them to nerf Naruto and Sasuke back down a peg in terms of power, because Isshiki was such a pinnacle, for them to just go ahead and surpass Isshiki anyway, and then Boruto and Kawaki have to catch up that much more. Like, it takes away the whole purpose of them nerfing Naruto and Sasuke, to lower the bar so that way Kawaki, Boruto, and Team 7 can become strong against these lower level characters. It took Baryon mode Naruto, it took Naruto and Kurama colliding their energy and creating a whole new type of energy in order to even be able to beat him. And then even then, Isshiki still would have won if Kawaki didn't outsmart him. Here, actually, I'm going to change something around real quick. All right, so I just changed around the tiers, moved all these characters up, because I feel like OP better describes Jigen, No Limiters Code, and Daemon a lot better than very strong. I think God tier represents Isshiki a lot better. So this is my final ranking tier list of all of the Kara members. But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe if you guys haven't already. 90% of you guys aren't subscribed, so it would mean a lot to me if you did. But yeah, let me know what you would change about this tier list. If you want to try out this tier list yourself, I'll leave it in the description. There's a few other tier lists I have. Also follow my Twitter. There's a few other tier lists I have here that I have made for other videos that we'll talk about a different day. Thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and peace out.